This is NewsDesk. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Jason Miller, here today with Dr. David Summers, Director of the Summers Institute of Foreign Affairs. Now stay with us. The second half of the show, we have a special guest. We have Angelique Thompson from the Social Life Dance Center, who's going to demonstrate hip-hop dancing. All right, David, let's get started. A gunman, Wade Michael Page, killed 6 worshipers at a Sikh temple in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He was a 40-year-old U.S. Army veteran. There's talk that he was a white supremacist.
The Southern Poverty Center has identified him and has been tracking him for some few years already.
Before this?
Oh, yes. And brought him to the attention of the FBI. But if he's not done anything illegal, there's nothing they can do about it. And expressions of belief are, of course, protected in this country.
They're still protected.
I should hope, right? That's right.
They can still say what they want.
Say the most outrageous, racist, and even deadly type remarks, as long as they don't turn deadly.
So legally that's okay, but socially and maybe business-wise that wouldn't be wise.
Well, he didn't have a big, thriving business, this guy.
Well, all right. So, all right. The Sikh faith has roughly 27 million followers worldwide, and the vast majority live in India. I thought it was a Muslim sect, but it's not related. It was founded in the 1400s by Guru Nanak, who preached monotheism and equality. This was in reaction to the Hindu caste system. It's a totally separate religion, the 5th largest in the world.
Yes, it is. And unfortunately, because of the turbans,
right,
there's a lot of prejudice against them because of their association, in the minds of some people, mistakenly, of course, that they are not only Muslims, but fundamentalist and extremist Muslims. And perhaps that led to this awful tragedy.
Actually, the talk about here, it's this is from the Telegram, telegram.com. They talk about their customs of dress and whatnot. They, let's see, they don't cut their hair. They wear a curved dagger, and they don't cut their beards. And lastly, they wear a turban. Also mentions that their holiest site is the Golden Temple in Amritsar, which is in northern India. Move on, this about Syria again. Syria's been in the news for many, many months now. Syrian Prime Minister Hajib has defected from the Assad government to join the revolution, in quotes. He was appointed less than 2 months ago. Boy, that'd be a dicey job to go for.
Mm-hmm. And he was reluctant to take it.
That's like being the next in charge of the Titanic.
Yes, exactly.
After it hit the iceberg.
Right, and he thought that, I'm sure, when he decided to decamp with his family across the desert to Jordan.
Right, says he's a Sunni Muslim. But Jordan is saying that no, he's not here. They don't want to get involved, I guess, in that.
They don't want to get involved.
Well, all right, so now let's turn next to the Sinai Desert, which is under the control of Egypt. Israeli leaders on Monday urged the Egyptian authorities to retake full control over the Sinai Peninsula amid concerns that Israel is facing growing threat from lawless havens in the Sinai for militant and jihadist groups on both its southern and northern border. There's been trouble over there ever since the fall of Mubarak and the takeover during the Arab Spring of Egypt. Egypt's kind of forgotten about this part of their country, and
that's right, and they don't have sufficient troops there to police it.
It's becoming like Afghanistan was.
Well,
where it's open to any of these terrorist groups.
There's some truth to that. And indeed, under the agreement with the Israelis, the Egyptians are allowed to have a few brigades in Sinai, and they've not yet fulfilled that quota. And therefore, lawless groups, terrorists, brigands of various kinds, general thieves, and troublemakers of all stripes abound in the Sinai.
Well, it's not just that, but you know, the Hamas terrorists, it's hard for them to break out of the fence, the encampment of Gaza.
Yes.
But they can go into Sinai and then go around and enter Israel the easy way.
Maybe it's not so easy for them to do that, but it becomes easier because of the lack of Egyptian military patrolling their part.
And a long desert border.
And a long desert border.
Sure, so...
but mind you, 24 Egyptian troops were recently killed in a major explosion.
You know, that's surprising.
That's a big deal.
It's surprising that the terrorists would attack Egyptians.
I thought it was very surprising as well, but they did that. And in a sense, it is, I hate to say this, in a sense it is fortunate. That is to say, it will direct the attention of the present government of Egypt to the necessity of policing the Sinai, because if they don't, they'll have many more than just 24 Egyptians killed.
So what you're saying is this could focus the mind.
Indeed.
As it were. I like that expression. All right, so let's move on to money matters. And now, you know, where is somebody supposed to invest their money now? It's really dicey out there. Now, Bill Gross, he's the co-founder and chief investment officer of PIMCO, which is the largest bond brokerage in the world. Mm-hmm. He says that we are witnessing the death of equities. He said investors should think again about the age-old buy and hold investing mantra, that consistent annual returns are a thing of the past. Gross wonders how stocks can keep appreciating at an average of 6.6% in this new normal economy. He says that wealth, which is GDP, has only been growing on a good year at 3%. So how is it that...
How can the market continue to have 6% growth
exactly.
every year?
And this year, the U.S. GDP is growing at 1.5%.
That's right. It used to go up. And he predicts that it will have a precipitous drop in the near future.
Boy, oh boy, you know, there's a lot of reasons why the market should drop, but it just keeps plugging along there.
It did that, if you remember, up until 2000. And then it had what's called a major correction. Right?
In 2000, also 2008.
Right, another major correction.
Yep.
And Mr. Gross thinks that we're due for an even, can we say, more major correction.
Well, it should be interesting. All right. Next, let's go to Mars. A plutonium-powered Rover, the size of a small car, was lowered at the end of a 25-foot-long cable from a hovering rocket onto Mars early Monday morning. And we're taping the show Tuesday. You will see this several days from now. So it was Monday, the 6th of July. The rover, called Curiosity, ushers in a new era of exploration that could turn up evidence that the red planet once had the necessary ingredients for life, or might still harbor life. There's two issues here. One is NASA and the Obama administration, it seems like people are saying, they want to showcase this, because there are those folks that think that NASA has turned into, as it says here, a creaky bureaucracy incapable of matching its past glory. So a success like this is good for funding and for keeping the agency alive.
This is not only a minor success, Jason. This is a stupendous success. Stupendous. Oh, yes. To put such a marvelous vehicle flawlessly on Mars that will function for years to come is a tremendous achievement, which should give Americans, all Americans, a sense of renewed pride in our preeminent technology.
All right, that's all
Well,
understandable.
good.
It's all great. But here's the thing I have a question about. There's a lot of things to look for on Mars. Now, already from their satellites that they put around Mars, where they've been finding various things, they also found water, which is extremely important.
Yes.
They found it at the
Indication
poles.
of life.
Well, they found it, but to use it, to use Mars as a way station to further planets and whatnot, further out in space. That's a really important find. But the thing is, this rover, one of the major things it's looking for is life or evidence of life. So why, as we talked about before the show, why would they land the rover at the equator?
We don't know that, and there may be a perfectly good answer.
There's got to be, like we said,
we would suppose
because
these guys know what they're about.
This is their field.
Yeah.
But you would think they would want to land the rover down near where the water is.
You would think, but maybe not.
It's
Right.
it's like we said. It's like landing in the Sahara Desert.
In any case, it is a fantastic accomplishment, and may then secure for them the funding that they need to proceed and delay or even do away with the cuts that the Obama administration wants to make to NASA.
It's bound to help.
Oh, yes. I mean, public perception means a lot, especially to Mr. Obama at this particular time.
Right.
I don't think that it would do him any good politically to start cutting NASA in the wake of this tremendous success.
Right. By the way, the article on the Sikh temple was from Reuters, and the background is from Telegram.com, BBC on the Syrian president. Sorry about not mentioning these. Financial Times on the Sinai Peninsula problem. Bill Gross from the Wall Street Journal, the article on Bill Gross, and New York Times on the rover landing on Mars. All right. Now, as most of you know, there's been debt problems, government debt problems throughout the world pretty much, especially Europe and the U.S. This from the Turkish Weekly. Poland could request ancient debt from Spain, though ancient's not really accurate. The loan was taken out by Spanish King Philip II from Poland's Italian-born Queen Sforza to finance a war between Spain and France. This was back in 1527.
Yeah.
In the 1500s, let's say that. It was denominated back then in 430,000 gold ducats, which is now worth about 57 million euros, which is not a huge amount, but without interest. But if you compound interest, it's a fortune, actually.
Well, yeah.
It could be in the billions. So it said Poland tried to collect this debt, but gave up finally in the 1800s, in the 1700s, and because it was only able to get back just a small amount. And some historians believe that the Queen was poisoned by agents of the King of Spain so that they could wiggle out of paying the debt.
Yes, it does remind one of the Russian imperial bonds that people held and tried to collect. The Soviet Union would never, ever.
So those are still outstanding.
Oh, why, of course. And that's just not this. That's not the only one. There are many other examples of this, right? Where you buy these bonds and they're just, government just says we won't honor them. Mexico had that not that long ago.
Argentina?
Well, and Argentina, many.
Well, you know, it's a cautionary tale for those that are buying today.
Bonds.
Present-day Italian bonds
equities are no good, and
bonds are no good.
And where's the money coming from, which is very interesting. The money is coming from abroad into the United States by U.S. government treasuries because it's the safest investment in the world, although it gives very little return.
Yeah, well, they say actually German bonds, which are also considered almost as good as U.S. government bonds.
Oh, now with the euro.
Well, maybe so. That's right.
That's very doubtful.
Yeah, it could be. But anyway, they're paying negative interest. People are paying money to have their money stored in Germany. Mm-hmm. All right, we better wrap this up. All right, till next week. Thank you, David. We've been talking with Dr. David Summers, Director of the Summers Institute of Foreign Affairs. So, thanks for joining us. Tune in next week for another episode of NewsDesk. That's Channel 95 Analog, 991 Digital, or on YouTube at NewsDesk WYOU. Stay with us. Coming up right after this commercial, we have Hip Hop with Angelique Thompson. This is Jason Miller broadcasting from Madison, Wisconsin. Bye for now. We're back with Angelique Thompson from Social Life Dance Center, who is the hip-hop instructor at the studio.
Yep.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us, this is a part-time job. You have many different jobs.
I do have many different jobs. This is a part-time job. I teach at the studio, beginner hip-hop class once a week on Thursday nights, and then I also do specialty choreography. And that ranges anything from a children's birthday party to a bachelorette party to weddings. Not really sure what else we could add on the list there, but...
Well, I understand it's... okay, so you teach these classes, which is for people that want exercise and also people that want to learn how to dance so that they can go to a club and look good. But you do these private dance lessons to teach people that are having a party or wedding or whatnot. But also, bachelorette parties is interesting.
It isn't interesting. For the bachelorette parties, you get the girls all together, and most of them are a little giggly at the beginning, but then, you know, once everyone gets comfortable, it's a lot of fun. You can incorporate a chair, or, you know, I mean, you could even incorporate a pole. I don't have that at the studio, but it's the same kind of idea. Right. You know, it's just a fun little teaser.
Hip hop has a bad reputation.
It kind of does have a bad reputation.
Gangs, foul language, all this stuff. How has it evolved, if it has?
I think it has evolved significantly. Hip hop came out in the 80s, and back then it was a lot of pop lock, you know, red leather jackets, and which it actually is still cool now. But there was a time when I think people that like hip-hop dance listened to rap music, and I think that's where it kind of got the negative connotation from. But, I mean, everyone from 7-year-olds and people like me, I'm 27, I'm very suburban, I guess you could say, and then you have, I mean, people in their 50s who dance to hip-hop. I mean, there's really no limits. of what kind of people can enjoy hip hop, and I don't think it should have the negative connotation that it does. I think that's kind of fading, though. I think that's fading. All right. Which is good. It's good that it's fading.
Excellent. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this commercial with Angelique Thompson, dancing. All right, here we are. We're here today with Tom of Janesville Jump Machine.
Right.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
All right, now, Janesville Jump Machine, you supply various party items for children's parties generally.
Right, 3 different items now. I have like 6 bounce houses, 1 big splash dunk tank which hooks up to your garden hose, and now the pony hops is the latest thing I have.
And here it is right here. That's the pony hop. Now, Katie's been nice enough to volunteer. It's ordinarily kids, but it can be adults.
There's 3 sizes, small, medium, large, up to adults, and I generally set up a racing lane in your yard or wherever you're at, if it's at a church function, just whatever. So there's immediately something for you to do, not just bump into a tree.
All right. Now tell us, it's mostly for kids, but this could be used for adults.
Yes, absolutely.
An adult drinking party, for example.
Sure.
So we've talked about in the past.
Right.
You set up 4 lanes.
Uh-huh.
And they race.
Right.
And drink.
Yeah.
And have a good time.
On grass, yeah.
On grass.
Right.
All right. So how does somebody get in touch with you if they have an interest in this?
Okay, they just call me at 608-359-7107. You can go on my website, jjmachines.com, and look at all the pictures of everything there. And just call me to make an appointment.
All right, fantastic. Katie, please, one more time. That's it, you got it. All right, thanks for being with us, Tom.
Thank you.
And back to our show. So we're with Angelique Thompson. Oh, I guess you know that.
I know that.
It was great. Great watching. Hip hop is really fantastic. Great way to get exercise.
It was a good way to get exercise.
Now, let's see how a class would go if you have a class of beginners. Why don't you show us how you would
go about teaching?
Go about teaching people that have never done it before. So
okay.
I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, great. So, as you know, I'm Angelique Thompson. This is normally how I would start my dance class. Every Thursday, I teach a beginner course. It's an intro to hip hop. So you're doing a lot of repetition in that class. The class is an hour long, and for the first 5 minutes, we do a warm-up, and then I teach a routine, and then after that, we do a cool-down. The cool-down lasts about 5 minutes as well. So what I'm going to do right now is pretend that you, the audience, are my dance class, and I'm going to run you through maybe 2 dance moves. So every dance move that I do in my class is broken down into 8 counts. So you might hear me say like, okay class, for our first 8 count, we're going to do this. And then for our second 8 count, we're going to do this. So just so you know the dance terminology. So let's just say for our first 8 count, we are going to do a side pull, pull down. That's just some random name I made up for one of my dance moves. So first what you're going to do with your feet
is step to the right and then come back with your left foot, then step to the left and come back with your right. So you say right, left, then left, right. Just like that. Right, left, then left, right. And then once you have your feet down, so I would instruct anyone to practice their feet before incorporating your hands. So once you have your feet down, then you're going to add your hands. So then we're going to go up, down, and then up, down. And I call this the pull down part. And then this is the side pull, but we'll get to that in a second. So we do up, down, up, down. And notice how we have our feet incorporated. So we'll try that one more time. So up, down, up, down. So if you're in my class, that would be the first 4 counts of your dance that you're going to learn from my class. It looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now, because every move is 8 counts, we need to add 4 more counts. So again, and this is what I do in my class, you're going to be repeating the same thing about 5,000 times, but it's great because at the end of the class, you've done it so many times that you can usually master the dance within an hour. Okay, so again from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to pull from the side, 5, 6. Pull from this side, 7, 8. Okay, so again, all together, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and that is your first 8 count of the dance. Okay, and then we'll just learn one more real quick. I call this one like the sassy turnaround, but you know what? They usually end up changing every week. I name them different things, and that's just part of my personality, a little scatterbrained. So this one, we're just gonna do a stomp to the right and a stomp to the left. So 2 stomps on each feet, and that's your first 4 counts. So we have 1, 2, and 3, 4. Okay, and then your 5, 6, 7, 8 is turning around in a circle. Okay, so from the top, from the very top, so we have our first move, and then we're going to go right into our 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to turn around 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and like most of my students, some people have been taking my class for a month, and some people have been there for 6 months or even years. But the more you come and the more you try and the more you just go for it and have no reservations and have no fear, you will be able to dance like Britney Spears. I'm pretty sure about that. So, all right, I'm going to show you what it looks like if you practice a lot.